have got a bone to pick with whoever decided to split the season into two. Because how are we supposed to wait an entire month for the rest of the season? Hello beautiful people, I hope you are doing well and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I am bringing you guys another review, and as you can see by the title, today we are going to be talking about part 1 of Bridgerton season 3. Let's get started. If you do not know what Bridgerton is about, then you have been living under a rock and I cannot help you. If you have not watched season 3, go do yourself a favor and go watch it. And if you don't want spoilers, then go check out my TikTok, because I took you on the entire journey of part 1 of season 3 without any spoilers. But now I am definitely going to be talking about things in detail because I want us to have a nice conversation. Okay, so let's get right into it. First of all, can I just say it feels so good to have a new season of Bridgerton to indulge in. Now, episode 1. The way you could instantly tell a difference in Colin, I don't know if it was just me, but from the minute he appears for the first time in the first episode, you can instantly see a difference in Colin. And it's like he comes back more or less the same way as he did in season 2, because everybody's minding their own business, and then Colin is like, hello family, and they're like, what, Colin? But I don't know, he came through with a pep in his step. I was like, Colin Bridgerton. But even with a change in demeanor, there is one thing that remains the same when it comes to Colin, and that is his spider sense when it comes to Penelope. I do not know how Colin does it, but it don't matter how busy it might be around him, he is always going to find Penelope one way or another. The entire family is bombarding him and they're like all so happy, oh my goodness, Colin is back. But it just takes one look in a certain direction and he's able to spot Penelope. Not Eloise being friends with Cressida now. I was so done. I understand Eloise had a falling out with Penelope in the previous season. I understand they're not on good terms. But to prevent Cressida, of all people, Cressida Cowper? Really? I know they're trying to give her some sort of a storyline, you know, trying to give her some redeeming arc, some reasoning behind why she is the way she is. But I'm still not a fan. The fact that Eloise is now friends with her. I mean, come on, Penelope decides she's going to have a little makeover and I am living for that makeover. I'm like, yes, girl, you better work. You better work. And she debuts her new look at the ball. Okay, Lady Danbury's the first ball of the season. And they're all like living their best life and she's doing the most. And then there goes Cressida. There goes Cressida stepping on Penelope's dress and ruining it. As if Miguel wasn't struggling enough. Because, oh guys, the cringe when it comes to Penelope trying to talk to these men. She's me. Oh, I felt so bad for the poor girl. I was like, no wonder Colin was like, let me help you out, because wow, she was fumbling. But even with Colin's help, but the poor guy, not Colin throwing her into the deep end and telling her to swim, because they don't even have classes on the side. Colin decides to do that later. In the beginning, he's just like, Azisha, let's go and see what you've got. I'm like, you can't do that, because the girl was fumbling so hard. And now there goes Eloise making things even worse by telling Cressida about the whole thing that Colin is helping out Penelope with her whole journey of finding a husband. Now there goes, everybody finds out. Now it's gossip. And I'm like, what were you expecting? Now granted, Cressida says that she wasn't the one who went around telling people, it was somebody else, but like still. And this was when I was like, Penelope, put that pen down. Penelope, put that pen down. Because Penelope started going at it. Penelope stressed me out. This girl, she stressed me out, because I was like, girl, don't write when you are mad. Don't write when you are mad, because this girl went in on everybody on the issue of Lady Whistledown, including Colin, throwing Colin under the bus. Okay, and now when they've mended things, Mugela forgot Oguti she wrote about Colin in the latest issue of Lady Whistledown until the issue came out, and she is dragging poor Colin Bridgerton through the mud. And now she's like, oops, what's going to happen? And Eloise is side-eyeing her because Eloise knows her true identity, and it's like And this is the same issue I had with Penelope in season 2, where I like this girl, but she does things that make me so mad. Oh, but even with the stress that episode 2 brought, they said let's end things on a high note. Colin goes over to the Featherington household and asks for Penelope. Again, he bribes her, I think it's Penelope's maid or whatever she is, bribes her to let him see Penelope. I'm like, see what a good bribe will get you. In the midst of the chit chat, okay, Penelope is like, Colin Bridgerton, my dear friend, would you mind doing me a favor? Girl, when I tell you, when she asked Ugusi, it's you man, I was like, girl, what you about to ask? What are you about to ask right now? And here goes homegirl asking Colin to give her a little smooch. And Colin is taken aback and he's like, what is this girl asking me? And I'm like, boy, same. After some hesitation from Colin, Ari, step forward, Ari, lean in, Ari. And the fact that they have like a little peck, right? A little mwah, and then it's like, okay, and then they look at each other, and then they go, I'm like, yeah. And then she dashes right after, and Colin is left there speechless. And then episode 3 starts with a dream, and I'm like, yo, Penelope's mind is running wild, only for it to turn out to be Colin. I'm like, Colin Bridgerton. And in the midst of all of this drama, we get introduced to Lord Debling. And can I just say, I like Lord Debling, guys. From the first scene he appears, I like Lord Debling. And I'm like, this is going to be interesting. Because I am Team Polin all the way. But I like this dude, okay? And granted, he is this traveler who says that, oh, you know, even if I meet someone and I marry someone, my wife is going to stay at home and take care of the estate while I'm away on my travels. And I'm like, I understand what he's looking for in a companion, right? And it might not be the ideal situation for, you know, us ladies out here in this day and age particularly. But homeboy is honest about it from the get-go, and that's what I like. Like, he is not sugarcoating about what he is looking for in a significant other, and I'm like, I can appreciate that. And I'm like, shame man, Lord Debling, like, I hope you find someone out there for you. But Lord Debling spices some things up. Oh, he is the competition we needed. He was the push. The push that Colin needed to finally realize what the heart is saying. Oh, and Colin gets hot and bothered, guys. Colin this season, first it was that scene when they're in, I think it's Colin's office or whatever, after they had their class in the Bridgerton household, and they stare into each other's eyes a bit too long. Actually, that whole scene from the beginning, when Colin arrives to Penelope and they're like, and Colin is like, okay, let's go get the class started, right? Did you guys see how Colin was leading Penelope into the room, right? And he had his hand on her back. I was like, hey, Colin, you're very comfortable around Penelope, hey? And now it was that whole event with the hot air balloons, and they're in a tent, you know, talking, and they kind of sort of still a bit uncomfortable after they had their own little moment with the kiss. And Penelope gets some sort of pastry, right? Some sort of pastry, and she's chowing this pastry, and she gets some icing on her hand, and so she's licking the icing, and Colin's eyes start wandering. Also, am I the only one, that whole part with Penelope and the icing, am I the only one who got flashbacks to the spoon scene in season 1 with Simon and Daphne?
She, like this author, is still waiting on the only suitor of note.
Here we are.
And then it's time for another ball, and there is Violet Bridgerton bumping into her future potential suitor. Violet's flower is about to be in bloom. I'm living for this storyline right here, because my mind instantly goes to, how are the kids going to react to this whole thing? As if that wasn't dramatic enough, because I was like, oh, a potential suitor, right? We find out how he fits into the puzzle, how he ties it into this whole thing. We find out because he is Lady Danbury's brother. Not Lady Bridgerton and Lady Danbury about to go from friends to in-laws. But now I am just left wondering what exactly this dude did to make Lady Danbury not like him, because she mentions Guti, he's very much busy, he's in them streets, but like I don't know, I want more detail, because Lady Danbury, it seems like Lady Danbury really wants nothing to do with her brother, and it's like you're gonna need to make amends, ma'am, because it seems like your brother is braided to court your friend. And while all of this is happening on this side, Penelope finally gets to dance. She gets her moment with Lord Debling, and Colin is not having it. Also, the way Colin goes to ask his mom about the whole thing of, friends turning into lovers, how friendship is the strongest, foundation for a good relationship, blah, 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 and uses Francesca as, the disguise. I don't know how to phrase it now, but it's like, no, I'm asking on Francesca's behalf. And I'm like, Colin, you really underestimate how smart your mom is, hey? Because Violet was able to put 2 and 2 together from the get-go. And so when Colin is out here walking towards Penelope and he's like, Penelope, can I ask you something? Did you guys clock Violet looking at the entire thing happening? It really seemed like he was ready to confess right there at that moment if Lord Debling didn't come through and ruin things. Look at Violet. Violet is on the right side of your screen. Look at Violet. She is looking at Colin and Penelope throughout the entire thing. And I'm like, she is witnessing everything. She is putting 2 and 2 together. She knows what's happening. And now Colin is having this whole struggle with his emotions and this and that, and it bleeds right into episode 4. And throughout this season, guys, what had me shook when it comes to Colin, what had me shook was how Colin was in his Simon era of being a rake. I'm like, hi, Colin. He is feeling all of these different emotions and he does not know what to do with it. And what makes him bubble over, okay, the last, what is it, the camel, the final straw that broke the camel's back, that is when Violet, I'm like, oh, this lady knew exactly what she was doing. But Violet, when they're going to the ball in episode 4, and Colin is like, he ain't going, and Violet is like, oh, I thought you would want to go see, the fruit of your labor, because it seems like Lord Debling is about to propose to Penelope. And I'm like, oh girl, you knew what you were doing. That made Colin absolutely lose his mind. This man grabbed everything and made his way straight to the ball. He got right there on that dance floor, was like, sir, please step aside real quick, I need to talk to Penelope. And they have this little argument going on. And at the same time, Lord Debling ends up having a dance with Cressida. And Cressida says a few things about how the Penelope and Bridgerton households are right next door to each other. And Penelope and Colin have been friends since forever. And Lord Debling is able to put 2 and 2 together. And he's ready to storm off. But Penelope runs after him and they have a little conversation. And Lord Debling like straight up asks her, like, would you want something extra, something more with Colin? And she's like, oh, that's out of the question, like that would never happen, it's not a possibility. And he's like, I'm not asking about possibility, babes, I'm asking about feelings. Do you want to? And she doesn't know how to answer that. And she's like, oh, I got my answer loud and clear. Your silence was loud enough. Bye-bye. And then the drama kicks in because Penelope goes home. Yeah, she gets into her carriage and she goes home. And Colin runs after. I does he run after this carriage, guys? Because how on earth is he able to catch it? But anyways, he catches up to the carriage. He's like, let me into this carriage. Get into this carriage. And they start talking, right? And he asks like, oh, did you propose? And Penelope's like, no, because of you. Because he thinks you have feelings for me. See what you've done. And Colin is like, well, what would you do if I did have feelings for you? When I told you, I was clutching them again. Colin starts spilling his guts out, starts expressing all his feelings. Babes, I like you. These past few weeks have been vexing. After all of that is said and done, one thing leads to another. And we get the carriage scene. The scream I scream, can I just say, and I feel like we all share this sentiment, but I must say that out of the 4 episodes, okay, the carriage scene is my favorite scene. But I feel like it's not for the same reason, you and I, okay? Because for me, the reason for this being my favorite scene is not even the carriage scene itself, but what happens after the carriage scene. Like, the moment when Colin goes... the moment when they arrive at the Bridgerton house and there's a knock on the carriage and they, like, you know, snap back into reality. And Colin is like, oh man, can't you tell him to continue driving? And they just start giggling. That right there is what makes this my favorite scene. I was expecting some level of awkwardness, you know, like how they were after the kiss scene in episode 2. That shifty eyes, oh my goodness, what just happened type of thing. I was expecting that. So them to just be so cool with one another and just giggle and just, I don't know, that just made this my favorite scene. And then Colin just steps out of the carriage and is like, you're coming with me. And Penelope's like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? I cannot do that. Okay. And he's like, oh, for Pete's sake, Penelope, are you going to marry me or not? And then this is when I wanted to march to Netflix headquarters and threaten them to release the rest of the season, because what you mean it go end there? Y'all, these 4 episodes were so good, but now I feel like the real drama is gonna happen. Now it's gonna be time for the real drama, because we forget, or I didn't mention that Lady Whistledown is in Colin's bad books, okay? Colin said that he is ready to come guns blazing when it comes to Lady Whistledown. And now it's like he has just proposed to Penelope. Who is Lady Whistledown? So now what's going to happen when Colin finds out that the lady he is about to marry is Lady Whistledown? Also, our comic relief was coming through once again. Benedict was giving me life. Is it just me though? Or does Benedict have a little boo thing? Every single season there is a new chick in this man's life. Which is why I am so interested to see what his story is going to look like whenever his season decides to come around. Because the man is busy. This season, or part 1 of this season, was so good. I'm going to be watching and rewatching some more for the next month until part 2 comes out. You guys will let me know what you are thinking of part 1 so far. And the fact that we have gotten most of the iconic scenes that you guys were waiting for, because we've got the scene with Colin hurting his hand, we got the carriage scene. So I think all that's missing now, like out of the big scenes that I've seen people looking forward to, is the mirror scene. Oh, it's about to be drama. But yeah, so for now, that is it from me to you. So until next time, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, switch on post notifications, all that amazing stuff. Until next time, stay amazing, gentle reader. Bye.